Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us again right here on Safe Money Radio, the longest running financial planning show in the Ozarks. We've been on the air for 15 years. This is our 16th year. It's kind of crazy. And I know a lot of times I say I have a special guest on the show, but trust me, today I have a very, very special guest on the show. And so if you're listening on the radio, you're going to want to go to YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. You're going to want to watch this episode because we have our guest live in person. We're recording right now. And today I have a rock star with me. Sheryl Moore is with me on the show. Cheryl, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Brad.
And I want to do this for those of you that are watching. I'm going to put her brand new book up on the screen right now. And I will say, this is kind of hard for me to say when I say this is the best book I've ever read about indexed annuities. And it's hard for me because I own 7 of them. I've structured more than 2,000 annuities for clients. I've written a couple of books about them, but her book's phenomenal. So we're going to be talking about it today, and you'll see copies in the background. And hey, throughout the show today, we're going to be putting a link in the description and also on the bottom of the screen, so you can go get your very own copy because it's been kind of hard to get a hold of. It's been sold out, and I bought 25 copies as soon as I read it. So we're super thankful to have Cheryl with us on the show, and I want to ask you as we get started, just tell us a little bit about your background, because I say this all the time. You know, I have Ed Slott on and Heather Schreiber and Tom Hegna, and I know them really well, but a lot of listeners don't know who they are. So tell us who Sheryl Moore is and how you got started in this crazy industry that we're in.
Yeah, so 25 years ago, I worked for an insurance company who's today known as Athene, and I was in charge of their product development and competitive intelligence. So
Wow.
I worked to make sure that this insurance company's product offering was more attractive than their competitors. And I loved what I did. I was very skilled at networking and quickly became known as the lady who knows more about indexed insurance products than anybody. Left there to go do the same thing for another insurance company and realized that I was unhappy and I wanted to be able to educate consumers about annuities. So I started my own business 20 years ago, and we run a market research firm that tracks all the life insurance and annuities in the US. And I get to work as a fact checker with the media to make sure that they're reporting accurate information about these products.
That's fantastic. Now, we're going to be talking about that later in the show. So those of you that are listening, if you've been listening to me for 15 years, you know why I say this is a very special guest, because anytime you hear someone, if it's a television show, if it's a radio show, if it's a commercial, you know they've got a reason for why they're doing what they're doing. They probably want to sell you something. But from Cheryl's standpoint, from my opinion, she's a fact checker. She's the one that does find out whether or not people are telling the truth on any paid advertisement or any way they're getting the information out there. And so later in the show, we're going to be talking about the research she's done and where you can go find that research, because it's what blew me away when I first met her. So Cheryl, I'll tell you this, you don't even know it. It was 2009. You were the keynote speaker at a conference I went to. And I didn't know a lot about the industry at that time. I was new in my career, and I heard you speak, and I thought, hands down, this is the smartest person I've ever listened to. She knows more than all these other agents, advisors, companies. I'm like, I'm going to follow her. So I started following you back in 2009. I've read all your articles, all your rebuts, your books, your information. I've followed you on LinkedIn. So I've been a little bit of a trolling you everywhere you go. So we're so glad that you're on the show with us today. Yeah. And I'll say this for all
compliment, Brad.
Yes, we're super grateful. So I'll say this, if you're listening to the show, throughout the show, I'll always give you a phone number. It's 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. If you want to learn more about Cheryl and get information about her, we'll be able to give you some of that information. You can always call in for a free financial consultation. But again, our number is 866-780-7233. And there's always someone standing by to take your call. So I want to do this again. For those who are watching, I'll put up a copy of your brand new book, Why I Bought Indexed Annuities. And I'll say this, if you just go to the very beginning and open, this is what caught my attention. Of course, I'm in a library right now in my new home. I love the library, got books everywhere. And I opened the book and read all the people who did the endorsements, if you will, for your book. And I saw people like Dr. David Blanchett, Dr. Michael Finke, Dr. Wade Fowle, Tom Hegna, and all those people are our colleagues and have been on this show. So why is it that you think the material that you wrote in this book resonated so much with all these economists and people with their PhDs and the experts regarding income planning?
Well, I'll tell you, Brad, I've gotten to be friends with these people over many years of working with annuities. And I think that really the consensus was this lady knows what she's talking about and she doesn't endorse any company or product. So
Right.
I think that that was really the main reason. And we have these economists and doctors who know the value of guaranteed lifetime income, but maybe need a little extra help getting the message out to consumers. And so I think that's why they left me such good kudos in the book.
Yeah, and mentioning those names, I'll say, a few years ago, I came across Baby Boomer Dilemma, and it's a movie, a documentary, and actually, we were the only financial firm here in the Springfield, Missouri area. We hosted an event 4 times for the public, and we showed Baby Boomer Dilemma at one of our theaters here. And I look at all the people who are in the movie, and the list is so long. Of course, Tom Hegna's in it, Moshe Milevsky's in it, but Ted Benna, the father of the 401k, David Walker, former comptroller general of the United States for 1998 to 2008 with George Bush, Olivia Mitchell, an economist and employee benefits plan professor at the Wharton School, like all these geniuses regarding the economy. And you're in the movie several times. So I was not knowing, and I go in and I watch it the first time and I'm like, there she is again. So tell us about working with all these people and about Baby Boomer Dilemma and what that was.
Yeah, so Baby Boomer Dilemma was a project that a friend of mine worked on where he was trying to get the word out to people that maybe 401ks aren't the only option. And I was really excited because he reached out to me to get my personal experience with indexed annuities. And I'm very passionate about the products, as you know, Brad. So this movie
Yeah.
was just an opportunity for me to get the word out to more consumers. And I'm really grateful for you showing it.
It is such a great movie. And I'll tell you this, for those of you that don't know, I know this is from about a year ago when I was involved in that a lot. But if you've never watched Baby Boomer Dilemma and you want to, all you have to do is call our office. I will actually give you a code to be able to watch it free. You don't have to pay for it. So just call in anytime. We'll give you access to it. You'll see Cheryl in the documentary and you'll be able to hear from all these experts that they do talk a lot about annuities, of course, during the movie, but they're just talking about the economy. There's actually some very famous whistleblowers that are talking about stuff that's gone on and is going on in the U.S. economy and with the government and things like that. So just call us anytime at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. Just say, hey, I'd like to watch the Baby Boomer Dilemma, and we'll send you a link to watch it absolutely free. 866-780-7233. There's always someone standing by to take your call. So friends, if you're just joining us on the show today, we have with us a guest expert. She is the CEO of Moore Market Intelligence. It's Sheryl Moore, and she's got her brand new book here, Why I Bought Indexed Annuities. And we're going to be putting links in the show, throughout the show, for you to be able to go order your own copy. It is a must read. And so, Sheryl, I want to do this. I want to bring up this 4-letter word, even though I know annuity has more than 4 letters in it, but it was a 4-letter word for so long that you and I know, because we've had a love relationship with annuities for a long time, it's not a 4-letter word. And now it's a very loved word, especially by people who've done their homework regarding retirement income planning. So since you wrote a book about it, tell us, what exactly is an indexed annuity and why are you so passionate about them?
Great question, Brad. So an indexed annuity is a product that will guarantee you a paycheck every month for the rest of your life, no matter how long you live. Now, the indexed portion comes in because you earn limited interest based on the stock market's performance, but you never lose money as a result of market downturns. The worst you can earn is 0. And I'm really passionate about these products because I had what was, unbeknownst to me, a 401k when I started in the insurance industry. And I did not know that you could lose money in a 401k. I was a struggling single mom with 3 kids. I'm very conservative. And when I lost money in that instrument, I began to panic. And when my boss told me about indexed annuities, I thought, great, that sounds like what I wish I would have bought instead of this 401k thing. Where can I buy an indexed annuity? And he just looked at me and said, Cheryl, we're employed by the number one seller of indexed annuities in the country. Now, that had a lot to do with politics, but the long and short of it is I got really jazzed about educating people about indexed annuities. And that's how my career started.
Well, we're so glad that you did get started in this industry. I'm not glad that happened to you with the 401k. And I know you say your 401k turned into a 201k, and I share that all the time. We've watched our 401ks bounce all over the place in this last week, especially last Monday, a week ago, when the Dow dropped 1,000 points in one day. So I'm glad that you are passionate about it, because people like you have been the reason why I now own 7 of them. I purchased my first index annuity back in '08. During the financial crisis that took place, and my father was my advisor at Merrill Lynch, but they didn't have anything that could do what this did. So that's when my relationship with them started, and it's protected me through so many different market ups and downs. And of course, I've continued to add them, and that's why I now own 7 of them. So we're super grateful for you being with us on the show. And friends, if you want more information, you can always call anytime at 866-780-7233. Just call in and ask for a free financial consultation. I have a lot of Cheryl's material. We're going to be putting a link on the show for you to be able to order the book. And so call us anytime at 866-780-7233. Now, Cheryl, I want to ask you this as we go into our next segment. You know, we've been talking about your brand new book, Why I Bought Indexed Annuities, and I wanted to go through every single chapter, so I'm going to have to force you to be back on the show again because we don't have time to go through all of them. But I want to do this. I want to talk about 3 different chapters. I know that in one chapter, you have a chapter called Dispelling Common Annuity Myths. And I love this because I've spent my entire career dealing with this. So there's so much bad information, so much inaccurate information published today about annuities. And I want to ask you, why is that? And what have you done in your career to make sure people are getting the right information about annuities?
Well, good question, Brad. I mean, really, I became passionate about this when I was researching what annuity I wanted to roll my 401k into. And what I found at the library and on this new thing called the internet was that there was a lot of inaccurate, biased information about annuities in the public domain. And that really spoke to me because I thought, what if this happened to my grandparents and they got a hold of bad information where an annuity might be the best thing for them? And so the more I read, the more desperate I became and concerned that consumers weren't getting credible information on annuities. So I began my company and started fact checking with the media to help them understand these products and how they work and what the real facts were on annuities.
So if you will, because I've been following this website for over 10 years, I know you've got a website where you actually list a lot of the positive information about annuities and a lot of the negative information about annuities, and you actually kind of rebut some of the information is there. Even if someone's pro annuity and they share something that's not accurate, you let them know. And if they are anti annuity and they share information that's not accurate, you let them know. So tell us a little bit about that website and what you've done with that.
Yeah, so my website at winkintel.com is really a resource where I wanted people to be able to have this credible location where they can find reliable information about annuities. And so for 20 years, I've responded to and corrected every negative or biased article that I have found on annuities. And I like to let people know what's available as far as news on these products. So it's all included on the website, good, bad, or indifferent.
I can tell you this, friends, if you're listening right now, the past 15 years when someone says, well, why is there so much bad information out there about annuities? I'm like, well, that's because people are in business on the other side trying to make money to sell you something different other than the annuity. But I can share with you someone who will share the accurate information about you from a non-biased side. And I've sent people to Cheryl's website for years. So we're so grateful for that. If you want more information about the truth about annuities, you need to call in and ask for my Safe Money Kit. I have a lot of information about this, the truth about annuities. Just call us anytime at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. We'll give you the information absolutely free. Now, Cheryl, I know in your book, I want to put it up again for the people who are watching, Why I Bought Indexed Annuities, which is brand new and just out in 2024. There's a title of a chapter in your book called The Money is There When I Need It. And I love it. That's why our clients purchase these. So let's talk about that for a few minutes. There's so many advisors who use scare tactics like never buy an annuity. They spend millions of dollars to put commercials all over TV. Never buy an annuity. But talk about the different ways that you can access money from an annuity and how it really does work, how you pass on all the money to your heirs when you die. Talk about that for a minute.
So, I think one of the most valuable provisions of an annuity is the penalty-free withdrawal provision, which allows consumers to take out typically 10% of their annuity's value each year without being subject to surrender penalties. So that's normally something that people forget about when they try and say that annuities lock up your money. They really have
Right.
many liquidity features, and the penalty-free withdrawal provision is not the only one. There's surrender charge waivers that will waive surrender charge in the event of things such as disability, nursing home confinement, even unemployment. And the great thing
Right.
about these products that a lot of people don't know about is that they pay the full account value on death. So you're going to get the annuity's full contract value in the event that you die, passed on to your beneficiaries. So the products actually have a lot of liquidity that people don't give them credit for, Brad.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I'll say this to almost every single client I talk to. Let's talk about this limited liquidity for a minute. And I'll say, do you ever plan on spending more than 10% of your retirement account in any given year? And they'll look at each other and say, well, of course not. We would never spend more than 10%. That would draw down our total retirement in 10 years. We want this to last the rest of our life. Great answer. I agree. A healthy withdrawal rate is probably 4 to 5%. That's debated amongst all these financial professionals, but that gives you access to more than double a healthy withdrawal rate every single year. So people kind of just need to take a deep breath and realize, like on 2 of my annuities, I have a return of premium feature. I can turn it in at any time and receive 100% of my deposit back. So return of premium features, 10% penalty-free withdrawals, terminal illness, chronic illness, loss of job, like Cheryl said, all kinds of ways to get access to your money. So I'm so thankful for someone sharing the truth with us about that. And hey, we want you to stick with us on the show today so that you can find out how to get your copy of Why I Bought Indexed Annuities by our guest expert, Sheryl Moore. I'm telling you, it's going to be one of the best books you've ever read. You need to hear her story, how she got into the industry, and what she's done to change the minds of people all across the country regarding insurance and indexed annuity products. Our number is 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. And you can call in anytime and ask for our free information. Now, Cheryl, you have a chapter in your book that's one of my favorites. And I always say this, I have to be careful because my father was a fee-based advisor. My son is a fee-based advisor. I'm this annuity nerd that's over here in the middle on the insurance side doing the safety and protection and tax planning, a retirement income certified professional. But you've got this chapter title that is My Money is Working for Me, Not Some Fee-Based Investment Person. Talk about the motivation behind a fee-based investment person and why sometimes they tell their clients to never buy an annuity. Can you talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, so fee-based investment advisors are really about managing people's money. And what a lot of people don't realize is that people who are investment advisors don't sell every type of financial services instrument. They really work on the objective where they're trying to earn you more money or seek greater alpha. So they're looking for the greatest return for their clients. And sometimes because of that, they get it wrong when it comes to annuities because they think, well, I can do better than what an annuity can earn if I have you buy some stocks in a bond fund. And that's
Right.
great. It may earn more, but it can't guarantee you a paycheck every month for the rest of your life like an annuity can. And so frequently, investment advisors don't even talk about annuities because they don't fit into their regime. And that's a shame because the number one fear of Americans is running out of money in retirement, Brad, and an annuity is the only instrument that can really effectively address that need.
Hmm.
So I wrote this chapter of the book because I wanted consumers to know how investment advisors get paid and why that is that they won't suggest annuities so that people can kind of put their foot down and say, look, I need the annuity, but I also need the investment advisor for my assets, and to know that they need to put their foot down and demand both.
That's such good information. And I will say, all of us have a story to tell. We can't change it. Our story, our history, it's part of our life. And Cheryl, I know about a lot about you and your background and how you ended up in this industry, things you've gone through in your family. That's why I love and respect you. And that's your story that you share. Part of my story is I had a fee-based financial planning father, 52 years in the industry, who said never buy an annuity. And that's because he worked for someone who didn't sell annuities. And then I share his story. In '01 and in '08, when he was 56 and 63, he went through two major market crashes with 100% of his money in the fee-based product, and it wiped him out at the wrong time. You don't want to be 63 and lose 50% of your money a second time, and he did. And so guess what? All of a sudden, come 2011, after the second crash, my dad bought 3 annuities. Those things he said he would never, ever sell. They're crap. Don't buy them. And now my mother lives off the annuity income payments that my father set up. Who sold those to him? I did. So he thought I was crazy when I bought an annuity back in '08. I was making a huge mistake. Then he ended up not only owning them, but got licensed to write them. And I still service his clients now that my father has passed. I still service his clients who own annuities that he sold them when he said never buy one. My son's dual license. He's an investment advisor rep. He's also insurance licensed. I focus on the insurance side of things, the protection, the guaranteed tax planning side of things. So there's value in both sides, and you have to have both sides, okay? But a lot of people can only sell one side, and that's why they're going to say something really bad about the other side. So we're so grateful for that information. And friends, if you're listening right now and you want to read a copy of this book, Why I Bought Indexed Annuities, just look for the link on this podcast where you can order it. Or if you're listening on the radio, call us anytime at 866-780-7233. We'll tell you how to get your hands on a copy. Now, friends, it's time to wrap up the show today. We've been so blessed to have Sheryl Moore on the show with us. And again, just sharing a little bit about her background. I've been following her since 2009. Not long after my career started, I saw her speak at a conference, and she'll never remember it, but I walked up to her and met her, and I've followed her ever since. I've followed her websites. I've read her books. I've read all of the articles that she posts. I've watched her interviews. I've seen her on Baby Boomer Dilemma, which we hosted showings of here in Springfield. And so, Cheryl, I just want to thank you for being with us on the show today. And I want to ask you, you know so much about the industry. Like, you've even given information to Congress to change their minds about the insurance industry. So where do you see things in the world of 2024 with what all the ups and downs of what's going on in the market and your understanding of insurance and annuity guaranteed products? What are your thoughts on where things are headed with all these baby boomers, 10,000 people a day turning 65?
Well, Brad, I've been really encouraged because since the Secure Act was passed, which allows people to have annuities and 401ks, I'm seeing a lot of positive press about annuities. And that, combined with the favorable interest rate environment, has led to record sales of annuities and indexed annuities in particular. I'm very excited about the future because more people are hearing about these products every year. And we're easily going to do over 300 billion of annuity sales this year. So I see nothing but blue skies ahead when it comes to annuities, and more consumers are learning about these products and getting excited about them. And that's a great thing.
Absolutely. The experts will say there's only 3 guaranteed forms of pensions or income, if you will: Social Security, pensions, which are very rare, and then annuities. And so if you don't have a pension, which probably 80% of people don't, or if you don't have enough Social Security to meet your needs, that's where moving a 401k or an IRA or a TSP into something like an annuity can provide that third bucket, that guaranteed stream of income. And Cheryl, I know you've owned them for years. Would you say you've owned them for 20 years now? How long has it been that you've owned annuities?
I bought my first annuity when I was 29 years old. So it's almost 20 years now that I've had passed since my first purchase.
Wow. And I purchased my first one in '08. And so I've owned them for more than 15 years. And just continue to add them to my portfolio. And what helps? People like Tom Hegna, for years, he said, I own 11 annuities. And of course, now he owns 13. And there's other people. I know one of the people who was in Baby Boomer Dilemma, he's since passed. He owned 14 different annuities. Why do all these financial experts include them as part of their portfolio? Well, it's not their whole portfolio. I tell people I own real estate. I own stocks and bonds and mutual funds. I have a 401k. I have life insurance. I have farms, but the bedrock of my future financial plan is annuities with income riders. So we are so grateful for people like you who share the truth and who rebut the bad information out there about annuities. So thank you so much for being with us on the show today.
Well, thanks for having me, Brad. I really appreciate it. Any opportunity I have to share the story of annuities with more consumers is a win for me. So thank you.
And what websites would people need to go to learn more information about you?
Yes, you can find me at SherylJMoore.com. That's SherylJMoore.com.
Very good. Friends, we are so grateful to be bringing the truth to you every single week. I say this a lot of times. People may not like what I say, but I can assure you this, for 15 years, I will tell you the truth. And so we are excited to be retirement income certified professionals who put the information in front of you, the things that you need to know to take care of what Cheryl said is the number one fear of all retirees, which is running out of money before you run out of life. We don't want that to ever happen to you, and we can show you exactly how to avoid that by setting up guaranteed streams of income to go with your other buckets of money to make sure you're living the life of your dreams. Call us anytime at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. Ask for a free financial consultation, a copy of my best-selling book, Bulletproof, The Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan, and we will show you how to get your hands on a copy of Cheryl's book, Why I Bought Indexed Annuities. Cheryl, thank you so much. Thank you to all you who are listening. Have a great week, and God bless.